Good morning, friends. I am Patty Elhoff, the author of Upcycle with Decoupage. I just want to make a very quick correction. In the very opening of this video, I said that there was a sale too good to pass up, and I spelled "to" T-O instead of T-O-O. I'm aware that I spelled that wrong. Sorry about that. And for today, I'm going to show you how you can make these very easy wall art pieces, and you can do them in just a very few steps. So without further ado, here's how we can get this project started. I was in one of the home type stores, like a Home Goods. I think this was Tuesday morning, and I found these cutting boards that I didn't really need, but I knew they were so pretty. I said I could do some really nice decoupage on these. And in keeping with kind of the design tradition, I thought that I would group 3 of them together and decoupage over the surface of them and make something to hang up in the kitchen. And I wanted to use these horizontally rather than vertically. So what I did was I took a ruler and I wanted to see how much space I was working with. I went onto Pinterest and I put a search into Pinterest that said vintage coffee ads. Coffee is huge in our house, probably in a lot of people's homes. And I wanted to print out some images that I found, but I wanted to measure them to make sure they fit over the size of my piece of wood that I'm working on. Now I know it might get intimidating for some of you when I start to show you the computer and print out size and so on and so forth. So if you would rather use a piece of scrapbook paper or images that you have that just happen to fit over your wood surface, and you can use these wooden plaques that you buy in the craft store for this or on my website, which is Upcycle with Decoupage. And what I did was I personally printed out the custom size, and I just put in the correct size that I needed. I think it was 5.5 by 5.5, and then I printed it out. Now I do have a laser printer. If you use an inkjet printer, that will run. The inkjet prints will run. So it's best if you can get copies from a copy center of a laser printer. I printed out all 3 of these that I wanted in the right size. You do want to be aware that sometimes on Pinterest the images are free, and sometimes they will take you to a site where they will charge you to print out some of the images, so you want to be respectful of that. Those will usually have a watermark or a branding on them. And I just cut out all of the excess paper from this, all 3 of my images. And then I found that the best way to apply these was to take, and I'm using a different image here. I took a bowl, just a shallow dish or bowl of water, and I dipped the laser print in here. Now, if you were using an inkjet print right here, this would all run and get smeary and bleed. So that's why we want to use the laser print. And I put decoupage glue over the surface. And I did let this image dry off a little bit. I blotted it a little bit so that it wasn't dripping wet like this. And then I just placed it right over the center of my, I think these are little cutting boards. But whatever you're using, I just placed this over the center. Now, I could have taken some twine or yarn or something decorative and put it around the outside there, but I didn't want to do that because the bamboo looks really pretty. These are bamboo, by the way. And I gently placed the image down. Now, sometimes you can get little air bubbles under there. If you're afraid to pull the paper away, you can use a pin and just poke those little air bubbles. Or you can carefully pull the image up, place some more decoupage glue down. You have to be careful here because the paper, since it's wet, it will tear a little bit easier. And just smooth down all of these edges. And because we're not working with a napkin here, It's okay to use your fingers to smooth this out. You don't need to use plastic wrap. You can just use your fingers and smooth everything down. And just make sure you don't have any wrinkles or any air bubbles. Work from the center out, just push everything out if you've got any excess glue. And you see how it lays nice and flat like that? That's what you want. Now I put these near a heat vent and they dried within about 15 minutes. So I added another coat of decoupage glue, and I'm using matte decoupage glue over the whole surface. I then again put them aside to dry, which again took only about 15 or 20 minutes. Then I took my top coat, and I'm using a matte top coat. And by the way, the reason I always add a top coat or a varnish, and those two are the same thing, is because if you're not happy with your decoupage project, you can submerge it in water, warm water, or put a warm wet rag over the top of it, and it will come off within a few minutes. You just have to peel it off or rub it off. Once you put the top coat on there, there are different polymers in there to keep that in place for a much longer time. This is going in the kitchen. There might be some splattering around there. I might need to clean this off or wipe it off. So I always suggest you use a top coat or a varnish. And this is the Liquitex matte varnish that I'm using over it. I found that of all the matte top coats or flat finish top coats, this one is the best. There's just no shine whatsoever. And I covered the whole surface of all three pieces with this. Once that dried, I took a staple gun, and I'm just trying to measure the space here so that I add the ribbon on the back pretty evenly. And I just used a sheer ribbon. The staple gun didn't go through that bamboo as easily as I thought. And then I just now I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I just used a level, and I used a ruler, a yardstick, to make sure that I got this straight on the wall. You can put these in a diagonal pattern. I'm going to add other images around this in larger pieces, so I've still got some more work to do. But I also wanted to remind you, you can do this in a nursery, you can do it in the bathroom, you can have a beach theme, a baby theme, coffee, tea, whatever you want. You can take your own pictures. If you've got some beautiful, let's say you have some beautiful clocks or any vintage pieces of anything and you just want to make your own collection, as long as you make a laser print and follow these same instructions, you can have a theme all your own. And these pictures can get much larger than this. There are ways to print out poster-sized images. I will do that in another video. But for today, hey, I have to thank you so much for subscribing, you guys. That means everything to us here. When you subscribe on YouTube, it allows me to keep making these videos, helping you out. And Upcycle with Decoupage is also on Facebook. But if you go below this video and click the subscribe button, that'll keep us making more videos. And once again, guys, thank you so much. I will see you next week with another video. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.